Level 1. Gate Kiosk Cashier. Not long past the last train home, you're 24, pulling $2,850 a month in cracked, non-slip shoes at the gate kiosk. Before sunrise, you serve black coffee to pilots while passengers sleep against backpacks in the concourse. One narrow counter has to feed coffee, snacks, and bottled water to the whole early gate bank. You sell premium coffee to lounge travelers with train coins in your pocket. Secure side scarcity lets the concession operator charge airport prices because passengers have few counters left. Your airport badge opens service doors, but access stops at the edge of the lease. You run sandwiches through service corridors passengers never see. A counter smaller than a street cafe moves so much money before most shops open because it owns the only fast option near the gates. Boarding calls teach you which quiet shelves will run short first. Each rush pays your wage almost the same, while the owner keeps the extra sales. The dented thermos stays hidden because buying coffee would erase the shift. At 5:12 a.m., suitcase wheels, boarding calls, grinders, and card readers swallow the kiosk. A business traveler demands lounge speed from a counter built to survive panic. You split drink buyers from food buyers with tape on the floor. Faster lines matter because every passenger who boards without buying becomes a sale no one recovers. Darlene Brooks checks your badge and cooler logs before breakfast. One bad cooler reading can cost the badge that pays you. A weather delay stacks one flight on another at the same gate. Can a wage worker take the blame for airport overcrowding he did not create? Furious passengers blame you for frozen card readers and empty shelves. One complaint reaches Darlene and puts your badge under review. You step into the line and redirect angry passengers toward refunds. The operator risks fines, but you risk the security access that turns airport hours into pay. The gate is valuable because passengers cannot leave and return. You volunteer for the ugly rush shifts because quiet hours teach less about the money. Cleanup ends as the last train nearly leaves. Overtime adds cash, but control belongs to whoever holds the lease. Stock carts vanish into back-of-house doors that feed every counter you can see. You follow the service corridor map away from the counter and into the airport's hidden supply route. Level 2, Overnight Stock Lead. On the night you turn 26, the airport loading dock clears $4,650 a month. Box trucks reverse under sodium lights, while the terminal still belongs to cleaners and stranded passengers. Sealed pallets move from trucks into locked cages before the storefronts wake. A belt radio makes you reachable across 3 units. Night differential exists because stocking has to happen before sales can exist. You send 2 runners towards separate concourses when deliveries stack up. Keys to premium inventory ride on your belt. Then dinner comes from a damaged sandwich marked out by the cooler. You know which unit fails first when cups, beans, or meals run short. Loaded U-boats roll past sleeping gates, dark luxury shops, and silent concourse glass. A breakfast rush loses value if the shelves open empty. Stocked shelves convert landing waves into sales before passengers scatter. A late vendor leaves 3 brands fighting over the same supplies before breakfast. A cafe supervisor demands cups already promised to another unit. You borrow product across brands to keep the busiest gate open. Lead pay rewards judgment because the wrong allocation can kill several registers. Runners start asking you where to go before managers arrive. Your used hatchback waits in the employee lot, timed to the shuttle. The refrigerated truck finally backs in with fogged doors and dripping seams. The load arrives warm, so you reject half the breakfast stock. Morning managers scream about empty shelves before the first flight lands. You block the pallet path and refuse unsafe food. Rejected stock costs money now. Spoiled stock risks permits and lawsuits. Can you save the morning sales without selling food that could shut the units down? You reroute safe sandwiches from slower gates to the morning pier. Inventory is tomorrow's sales protected overnight. Sunrise finds you still in dock dust. You earn more by owning problems managers cannot see from the storefronts. You study the units that turn stocked shelves into bonuses. You leave the dock through the corridor junction, knowing those corridors decide who opens strong. Level 3, Unit Manager. Each candle to 29 adds up, and $7,400 a month banked. You manage a branded restaurant wedged between boarding gates, fryers, and glowing menu boards. Cooks, cashiers, airline crews, and impatient passengers all move on flight time. Your airport parking permit cuts 20 minutes from emergency calls. Your bonus depends on sales, labor cost, and food cost, so a crowded line can still punish you if staffing or waste runs wrong. You match staffing to flight banks before the line exposes the mistake. Union staff push back when you cut hours before a slow bank. You keep veterans for rushes and train rookies during lulls. Labor saved at the wrong hour costs more in missed orders. Your name runs the schedule, but the brand logo owns the wall, and the concessionaire owns the profit. You coach a new cashier through passengers counting minutes to boarding. A ground stop turns the restaurant into a survival station for the terminal. Stranded passengers buy everything the line can make, and the concessionaire keeps the upside after costs. Trash towers over bins as cooks run out of fries. The concessionaire keeps profit after rent, royalties, wages, and waste, while your bonus gets measured against the targets. A gate agent demands crowd control before boarding lanes get blocked. You split the line and protect the boarding lane. Staff start moving before you finish giving instructions. Your nearby apartment becomes an emergency bunker. Your daughter's birthday dinner starts without the restaurant calling yet. The fryer hood fails during the storm delay and pulls you back. You leave the party mid-song and drive toward employee security. Does one broken hood erase a month of perfect targets? Downtime destroys peak sales while fixed wages keep running. Maintenance says wait, and you argue the next gate bank will bury the unit. You shift service to cold items and keep receipts flowing. Renewals reward controllable numbers, not the person who suffers most. Airports expand operators who prove sales control during chaos. You study which spaces get renewed, expanded, or replaced. You carry the closing walk flashlight past the locked line and start tracking who owns the next counter. Level 4, Airport Openings Manager. By the morning after another red-eye, 32, pulling $11,900 a month from airport openings. You live between terminals, construction crews, brand trainers, and midnight airport escorts. The company travel card buys hotel rooms you barely use. Each opening begins with barricades, dust, crates, and temporary power. The company pays you because late openings burn more than launch bonuses. You spot which unfinished items can wait and which can kill approval. You argue with the hood inspector as contractors blame missing parts. Airport food revenue begins only after permits, alarms, and health approval line up. Darlene Brooks arrives treating you like management, not counterhelp. You open million-dollar units, but the profit stream belongs upstairs. Cashiers train for first sales as carpenters finish the cash wrap. Overnight, alarms, drills, contractors, cooks, and arriving flights turn a shell into a restaurant. Can the opening survive if cold storage dies before inspection? The walk-in cooler fails, with breakfast inventory already delivered. You snap into radio calls instead of waiting for maintenance. Neighboring concession managers resist lending space that could risk their audits. Borrowed storage preserves food value and protects the launch bonus. Crews move inventory through escorted corridors before Darlene returns. One failed temperature can close everything. Darlene tests the workaround and makes you defend every transfer. Inspectors control opening day because food safety outranks construction speed. Approval lands minutes before the first cashier takes position. First passengers enter like the chaos never happened. Your suitcase carries more terminal dust than clothes. Timing becomes the harsh currency of airport openings. Elite points stack up as home life shrinks between flights. You study the tenant owners keeping revenue after you leave. Between launches, you start learning leases, airport rules, and ownership structures. You leave the first sale printer, knowing opening on time is where airport value lives. Level 5, First ACDBE Partner. Turning 36 at your first owned airport coffee kiosk, take-home hits $24,600 a month. The counter feels tiny, but your company name finally sits on it. Staff wear your logo where you once wore someone else's. You hire, badge, schedule, and train the first team before sunrise. The ACDBE partnership gives you entry into airport space prime operators usually control. Airport electricians push outlet fixes into opening week, threatening credibility before the first sale. You approve overtime because missing opening morning would cost trust. Commuters line up by your sign before sunrise. Employees run the rush as boarding groups pass your register. Every cup first pays rent, revenue share, payroll, and supplies before ownership income reaches you. Passengers see coffee. You see risk attached to your name. You choose local pastries that survive airport delivery and morning surges. Airport logistics demands delivery windows too narrow for the commissary run. Owning the stand means shortages become your lost margin, not corporates. Employees ask you for answers no manager trained you for. A leased cargo van makes the business visible beyond the counter. A crowd shift can turn the best hour into dead time. 2 early flights shift concourses, and your best hour thins overnight. You walk the new concourse, counting faces, not cups. Airport rent stays fixed, even when passenger flow moves elsewhere. The joint venture partner warns that ownership also means eating volatility. You call staff later because one slow hour can wreck payroll. You shift labor and pastries toward the remaining flight banks. Management fees steady you while distributions rise or fall with traffic. Your new office shares air with mop buckets and spare signs. A kiosk is not small when airport traffic controls it. You study multi-unit operators spreading risk across several gates. The stand survives by chasing passengers without changing its footprint. You face the quiet gateside counter, knowing ownership pays you and traffic can humble you faster than bosses. Level 6, Regional Prime Operator. Darlene Brooks calls you owner for the first time. 41, earning $67,500 a month from 4 airport units. Holiday travelers carry your cups, sandwich wrappers, and newsstand bags across 2 concourses. 2 permitted vans turn your company into part of the airport's daily infrastructure. You lead managers before departures, split the day across 4 businesses. Multiple units spread traffic risk, but they multiply labor gaps and spoilage problems. Your footprint now includes docks, storage rooms, counters, and break rooms. Supervisors move toward pressure points before passengers arrive. Vendor rebates improve margin only when volume stays coordinated across all units. A bakery owner demands earlier unloading while security limits dock access. You assign 1 supervisor to protect deliveries, not 1 counter. Darlene questions staffing as a tenant owner issue, not a badge issue. Badge delays freeze labor because unbadged hires cannot reach sterile areas. You command managers and vans, yet 1 office window can stop sales. The HR coordinator builds a hiring pipeline before spring break traffic lands. Your conference room makes airport officials treat you like a real operator. Can the company hold if the trusted operator leaves? A national concessionaire poaches your operations director and 2 supervisors. You head to the concourse and start replacing coverage yourself. Spring break crowds make each unmanned unit lose money in public. Remaining managers argue over which counter deserves the spare crew. Sales vanish instantly when a register lacks a badged worker. You create floating leads instead of depending on one operations director. Supervisors rotate between coffee, sandwiches, newsstand, and grab-and-go peaks. Systems turn individual know-how into coverage the company can repeat. Growth turns trusted people into vulnerabilities competitors can buy away. Owning locations is weaker than owning routines people must follow. Your 4 units keep spring break passengers moving without the poached team. You pursue systems strong enough for airports beyond this one. You update the floating supervisor board for a company built to survive departures. Level 7, Multi-Airport Concession Group. 7 years gone, and at 48, your income crosses $176,000 a month. Your group runs breakfast, retail resets, and night concepts across different states. 18 units send distributions, commissary profit, and licensing fees upward. Managers solve problems by radio while you ride between terminals. Your commissary feeds airport shelves before passengers arrive. 3 airports in 2 days become one moving operation. A chef adapts local food for airport speed under your direction. Local brands gain airport reach while your group earns licensing income. National primes still treat you as the required local partner. Darlene Brooks meets you as an equal in the authority hallway. The new RFP Sitewalk opens your biggest terminal chance. Can trapped deposits survive a frozen award and whispered doubts? Build-out deposits leave before travelers buy the first meal. A rival lawyer attacks whether your company can finance the build. You call bankers from the terminal instead of shrinking. Darlene defends the operating record you built in her terminal. Airports trust operators who keep gates fed during disruption. The protested award freezes your largest contract and idle equipment. Warehouse equipment sits unused while payroll and legal bills continue. A lender tests whether your collateral can outlast the appeal. You invite a finance partner rather than abandon prime space. Balance sheet strength buys patience when appeals stall rent commencement. The procurement chief demands local jobs remain real under pressure. Your record earns trust, but capital decides larger rooms. A corporate operations team travels with you across states. Travelers photograph your local food concept before boarding at night. Managers need answers you can no longer provide alone. You build political trust before bidding for prime spaces. You turn from operator into platform builder on the airport service road. Level 8, Terminal Marketplace Prime. Now you've hit 56. The flagship terminal marketplace is yours, and you pull $548,000 a month. The terminal marketplace runs at full volume under one roof. You walk the floor, greeting cashiers and station leads by name. Master leases turn passenger flow into recurring ownership income. Your company name now guides travelers through the terminal. The lunch bank hits every stall, register, and table as crews and tourists eat in the same marketplace. Station leads redirect crews while you read the crowd flow. Subtenants pay rent spreads because your platform delivers foot traffic. Your plain airport badge remains, but the terminal pays you repeatedly. A local chef's first airport unit sells out before boarding. The chef gains sales while your platform earns management fees. Cashiers greet you like founder, not visiting executive. Permanent scale follows you even through family travel plans. You give senior operators authority before emergencies arrive. A storm delay strands passengers across the whole terminal. The terminal floods with customers, and managers absorb the surge without you. Will the platform hold when every flight backs up? Commissary carts and cross-training convert chaos into controlled volume. An airline liaison demands food lines stay clear of gates. You laugh once, then send leads toward choke points. Cleaners, cashiers, and cooks rebalance tables before you intervene. The business finally works faster than your own hands. Chefs wait to join future terminal stalls under your platform. Your cups, bags, menus, and uniforms move through the terminal like a living map of the business. Pilots and tourists eat side by side under your signs. The same gateside coffee counter returns as your busy stall. The first counter became a system feeding the airport. Workers filled the space with laughter, shouted orders, and trays passed from hand to hand. The marketplace glows around passengers, crews, chefs, and the cracked shoe memory of that first gate kiosk.